Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Kim. I have a 6th grader daughter sitting right there. I have one daughter here. Thank you for coming, taking the time to come here. I know this is our first year as the whole diversity committee is a new committee. I think it was available to upper school only. This is the first year where we have decided to open it up to the entire school as an all-school event. So bear with us as we are trying to organize everything. So this is our first event of the year. And we have another event coming up. We will have 2 events. The second one is February 7th, I believe. So kind of keep your eyes open for that, and please spread the word so we can have more participants come and join us for that second event. I have been here, Taylor has been here since 1st grade, and I believe this committee is a very important committee and we need it in this community. We are in such a diverse community, not only at Stone Ridge, but just the metropolitan area. I think it's very crucial that our languages, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, are maintained in our family, in the school, and in our household. So that's the main reason we kind of put this, to share information and resources amongst fellow students and parents. So this is my co-chair, Evelyn.
Hi, my name is Evelyn. I have a 7th grader and a 1st grader. A 7th grader has been here since kindergarten. My 1st grader has been here since pre-K. We'll see how it goes. Lifers, I think. We actually, before I forget, we have a sign-up sheet. When you get a chance at the end, please put in your information so we can do a follow-up. We are video recording this panel discussion for those who were not able to attend, and also those who may say, it kind of doesn't involve me. They can actually see what the discussion is about, and they'll see that it does touch on every person, whether they're students or faculty or parents in the school, because we are multilingual. Some of the students come here speaking one language. By the time they leave, they speak at least 2, because you take either French or Spanish. So automatically you'll buy to multi here. And I think it's very important that we share, as Michelle said, we share our resources, but also encourage, because in talking with some of the parents and even some of the kids, they're like, oh, after a while, I just got fed up. It's just too tiring. So hopefully this will be a beginning of a dialogue, an all-school dialogue between the parents, the teachers, the students, to discuss and to encourage each other to continue with the different languages, because the world is getting much smaller. The languages are there, and they just make, I think, the life much richer all around, to keep them going and sharing. And now I think we're going to begin. Introduce, yes,
Moderator.
Miss Julian Chiganda. Yes, this is my sister.
You always get the question, so
Yes.
let's get it out the way.
She's my sister. She's going to moderate the panel discussion, and now let her take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I want to first say, so Julian Kiganda, my daughter is right here, Natalia. This is actually her 1st year here. I also have 2 nieces here, Wanyana and Nanchinga, who are also here. They've been here since they started, kindergarten?
And pre-K.
And pre-K. And my sister has been telling me about Stone Ridge since they started, and I was kind of going back and forth about whether or not I wanted to send my daughter here, because for me, culture is very important. She's grown up knowing her culture, not knowing her language as much as she probably should. Although in some cases that works in our favor, because we can talk about them and they don't know what we're saying. But I'm actually really excited to be here because I'm a cultural communications consultant. So for me, the tipping point in bringing my daughter here was the fact that you have a diversity committee, was the fact that you do embrace culture and diversity, and that is something that you're actively working towards here at Stone Ridge. So I'm very happy we're having this dialogue. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of this. And I think I'm going to go ahead and have the panelists all introduce themselves. If you could also tell us what country you're from, so we have a sense of the diversity we have on the panel, that would be great. We'll start here.
Hi, I'm Annabelle Quintero, and this is my daughter Sophia. I'll let her introduce herself now. And I was born in Uruguay, and Sophia was born here, but I have spoken Spanish to her since she was born, and I'm trying my hardest to raise her bilingual.
Hi, my name is Sophia.
How old are you? Your whole name?
Sophia Raquel Quintero, and I'm in second grade, and I speak Spanish and English.
And French, wow, you love that one.
Thank you.
I'm Meg Hamlin, and I graduated from Stonebridge in '82, and my language journey began here actually because although I came from a family that was recently immigrated to the United States, they had chosen not to teach that language to my mother. And so I was always so curious about this because all of the older people spoke Italian in this case, and my sister and I made up an imaginary language to use, and we had to wait until we could take Spanish here at Stonebridge. All of us went here, and so it was really only in high school in those days that you could begin to learn a language. So things have really changed for the children here. And then later I married a man who had grown up half his life in Brazil and half in Mexico. So we raised our children, who are now in high school, in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. And speaking those languages fluently has been, a great pleasure for me, and personally, and enriches every day of my life. I use those languages, and teaching some of the children here that, it just allows you to make a deeper connection with people. And I try as a teacher of kindergarten here to show all the faces and all the voices that we can in our classroom, because it just makes the world more interesting and more rich. So we invite older children to come read to us. We invite any family that will to come share some special knowledge that they have. And I think I was invited here because I was an alumna, but I have taught ELL children, so I'm not a professional expert in that, but I do see how quickly kids can learn many words. I always say, if you can learn 4 words that say this is a cup, vase, glass, cup, whatever, you can learn them in 4 different languages, so it doesn't get in the way usually after a bit.
Thank you.
I'm Asako Maeda-Wong, and my daughter is right here sitting in front of me. She's Chieko Wong, and she attended Stonebridge from junior kindergarten, JK. So this is her 8th year. On top of Stonebridge, she goes to Japanese school on Saturdays, and she's been there for 6 years right now. And also during the summertime, when I go back to Japan, she goes to the school that I graduated for 2 or 3 weeks. And I really enjoyed that moment then, because we can share the song that she learned and in Japanese, and I remember all those good memories back then. And it's hard on her because Japanese is her second language, but there's a good result that came out these days after 6 years. When we go back to Japan, she can bring my husband, who is American, and she can be the translator. She will get out of home and take a bus and a train and go to Ginza and do the shopping, restaurant, and come back with things. Maybe 2 of them have a date, and she's a great translator. So it's a great result that she's been doing. So.
And I'm just going to jump in for a second. If we could just do name and country, because we're going to end up having a discussion before we actually get to the discussion. But also, everything you're saying is everything we're supposed to discuss later. But thank you for sharing. And we also have a video to watch, so I want to make sure we have time for that. Thanks.
My name is Sima Bakalian. I have two daughters right here. Lena's in 10th grade, Karina's in 8th grade. We speak Arabic and Armenian at home, and both my husband and I are Francophone too, so we do some French too.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Michelle Campino. I have these two beautiful daughters. Gabriela, she's in 1st grade, and Isabel in 3rd grade. I'm originally from Brazil, and at home we speak Portuguese and Spanish. Thank you.
I'm Sophia Dabu, and I was born and raised in El Salvador, and I've been living here for 5 years now. I'm a senior, and we speak Spanish at home.
I'm Laura Garcia. I'm a senior. I'm from Colombia, and I speak Spanish at home.
Can you all say what language you're studying?
Oh, French.
French. We take French here at school.
I guess you didn't need to take Spanish then, huh? All right, and I think the video, I want you to realize, okay, we can put on the video.
Sorry, you can just give me a minute.
We have a list of resources that we will be sharing and compiled based on what the some of the links that the co-chairs found, and some other resources that touch on language acquisition. More recent research that talks about, there seemed to have been a notion that it wasn't so amazing for young children. Maybe it caused language delay and things like that, but the more current research that has been discussed of late seems to really give a lot of information about the fact that the brain sort of expands in different ways by having second or multiple languages. So we will share those in a little bit. Just trying to give a commercial.
Konnichiwa. I don't know any of those languages fluently, but we know there can be benefits to teaching young kids another language. But what about at the age of 4? The mom you're about to meet says her son is not only fluent in 4 languages, but he can read them too. It's today's Don't Judge Me moment.
This is Mas.
This is Mas?
Si.
It started very innocently.
Tu veux les compter?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
At 6 months is when we started introducing the French.
Plus.
Ah, bravo!
And at a year is actually when I started exclusively speaking to him in French. My husband speaks to him in English.
Okay.
My name is Rhonda Ross, and my 3.5-year-old son, Raif Henak, is speaking and reading in 4 languages.
Los números.
Los números?
He has a babysitter that comes 3 afternoons a week.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It speaks to him only in Spanish. And he also has a Chinese babysitter that comes a couple times a week, speaks to him only in Mandarin. In addition to that, he does a preschool program 5 mornings a week that is immersion Mandarin. He doesn't confuse the languages, he doesn't mix the languages. It's worked very, very well for us.
This is Tanya.
然后2点. I continued doing this with Raif because I saw that it was benefiting him. I saw him enjoying it. If I had ever seen him not enjoying it, I would have made a different choice.
Rhonda Ross, I gotta admit, I look at your son, I think, holy cow, he looks brilliant. That's how I want my kids to be. And, before we get Dr. Sharp's intake here, tell me why you wanted to do this and what kind of benefits you're seeing in your son's brain development.
Well, it really started very organically for me. I speak French. I learned it as a teenager. It opened so many doors for me that I thought I'd love to give this gift to my son. And once I saw he was doing so well with that, I said, well, Spanish is the language in this country, and Chinese very well may be the language of the future. So I just added them as I saw him doing well in them. And it has benefited him in so many ways. There's definitely a lot of research that talks about the brain development, how it adds plasticity to a young brain. gives them the ability to think more flexibly. It also aids in pattern recognition, and we all know that pattern recognition is the basis of all learning, of course math and all of that, so it has benefited him already. But I see that as a 3.5-year-old, he's social, he's confident, he loves people, he loves communicating.